Not making it worse.
Time is 7:03. I'll call to order the City of Torrington Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for February 16th, 2022. Attendance this evening is by Zoom or in person at City Hall Auditorium, room 218, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. Instructions for Zoom are available online at www.torringtonct.org/Zoom. There's a link there. Phone number 1-646-558-8656, meeting ID 795-950-7035, passcode 907148. Moving on to agenda item number 2, attendance. Serving on the commission this evening is Greg Parasino, Donna Greco in person. Jim Babinski and Diane Carroll are remote. Also in attendance, myself, Greg Mealy, and also in attendance is our city planner, Jeremy Lightford. Moving on to agenda item number 3, minutes for approval. A for January 19th, 2022.
I'll move the minutes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Moving on to agenda item number 4. The time is 7:04. Public hearing scheduled for 7 p.m. Wednesday, February 16th, 2022. City Hall Auditorium, room 218, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. A, special exception 22-01 and site plan 1399. Applicant is Samuel Lee on behalf of Volta Charging LLC, location 931 24th Street. Proposal: install 2 EV charging display kiosks in the parking lot of Stop and Shop. Serving on the commission this evening is Greg Parasino, Donna Greco, Jim Babinski, and Diane Carroll remote. Myself, Greg Mealy, also in attendance is our city planner, Jeremy Lightford. Commissioner Greco, do you have a legal notice, please?
I do not.
Not yet. Sorry. Hold on.
Where is it?
Should be right there. Flip it over. Flip that over. Flip this over. Keep going. No, here it is. That's it. No.
Yep.
There we go. I probably flipped everything over.
What am I gonna do with it?
Okay.
That's also
Later.
for later.
Okay. We're good.
Go ahead,
Go
please.
ahead.
City of Torrington Planning and Zoning Commission legal notice. The Planning and Zoning Commission scheduled a public hearing on the following application on Wednesday, February 16th, 2022 in the City Hall Auditorium, room 218, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. A special exception 22-01 and site plan 1399. Applicant Samuel Lee on behalf of Volta Charging LLC, location 931 Torrington Street. Proposal: install 2 EV charging / display kiosks in the parking lot of Stop and Shop. Time of hearing 7 p.m.
Thank you. Is the applicant in attendance, and was the sign posted on the property?
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. Kristen Motel, attorney for Volta Charging from the law firm Cuddy and Fader. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, please
Yes.
continue.
All right,
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Yes, a sign was posted on the property. An affidavit and proof of posting was sent to the Land Use Department.
Thank you.
Yep, just confirming that we did receive that.
Thank you,
It's in
Jeremy.
electronic format.
Okay, please proceed. Thank you.
So the green cards are.
They were scanned to us in electronic format. We'll just need eventually the hard copies.
Yes, absolutely.
Please continue.
Commissioners, would you like me to continue or would you like the planner to have a presentation?
Why don't you give a brief overview and then we'll turn it over to the city planner. Thank you.
Sure. So as you all recall, Volta was before this commission in November for a zoning amendment. With me tonight is John Stuckey, the Director of Site Development for Volta Charging. We were both with you in person in November, and we are back for a site plan and special exception for the proposed EV charging kiosks. Volta is proposing 2 kiosks in the Stop and Shop on Torrington Street. Those kiosks are going to be located closest to the building. They're going to convert 2 existing parking spaces into electric vehicle charging spaces. The kiosks have electronic display for advertising And there are a number of limiting factors in the new code amendment that were adopted. The kiosks do meet all of those factors, as well as some of the, or all of the standards outlined in the city's code for site plan and special exception. I do have the drawings. I know you have them as well. I can pull them up on my screen if it would be helpful. I don't know how well you will be able to see them, but we can walk through them in more detail if you'd like. Like I said, the kiosks won't be visible from the public right of way, East Main Street or Torrington Street, and they are located closest to the building to target that pedestrian traffic. So with that, I'll open it up to questions. I know we did receive the planner's memorandum. Thank you for sending it. There were a number of notes there that Volta is willing to accept as conditions of approval, or, we can talk through tonight if there are any specific questions.
Thank you. Jeremy, you have a memo?
Yes. Memo dated February 16th, 2022, special exception application number 2201 and site plan number 1399. Samuel Lee on behalf of Volta Charging, 931 Torrington Street, installed 2 EV charging display kiosks at parking lot of Stop and Shop. Samuel Lee has filed a special exception application and site plan application on behalf of Volta Charging LLC to install 2 electric vehicle charging stations at the Stop and Shop property, 931 Torrington Street. These proposed charging stations are each 7.5 feet tall and 3 feet wide, with digital displays that are 4 feet tall by 2.25 feet wide. They are proposed to be installed within 2 existing planting islands adjacent to 2 proposed EV parking spaces nearest to the store. The property is located in the LB zone and is the current property use is retail. The proposed EV charging stations are allowed in LB zones by special exception use under sections 5.15.2, 5.15.5B, and 5.15.6B of the zoning regulations. Plans titled Volta Stop and Shop number 2604, Torrington, 931 Torrington Street, Torrington, Connecticut, 06790 by Kimley Horn, White Plains, New York, revised to 12/6/21, 10 sheets. All regulations in section 5.15.2 of the zoning regulations have been met under this proposal, including the limit of no more than 2 charging stations, the maximum size of 21.5 square feet, the maximum display size of 9 square feet, the maximum distance from the store of 100 feet, and servicing a store of at least 57,000 square feet. The displays will also be set with an auto dimming feature and a content refresh rate of no more than every 8 sections in compliance with the regulations. Staff has met previously to discuss the project with the applicant and their agents prior to this meeting. In reviewing the applications and plans and documents submitted, I have the following comments. The applicant should submit a full-size 24 by 36 stamp plan set for the record. Only reduced bound copies have been submitted to date. I see these have been turned in. The proposed location avoids offsite. The proposed location avoids offsite visibility of the kiosks and advertisements as required by the regulations. 3, there is no substantial increase of impervious surface area as part of this proposal. 4, a signature box is required to be added to the overall site plan sheet C1-00 in accordance with section 8.4.3.p of the zoning regulations. Other staff comments: wetlands, nearby inland wetlands are greater than 75 feet away from the proposed EV charging station installations. Therefore, no wetlands permits are required for this application. This constitutes a favorable wetlands report for this application. Landscaping, trees appear to be preserved. Trees appear to be preserved during the EV station installations, but there are shrub removals identified on the plans. It is recommended that the loss of planting island shrubs be offset by shrub planting in other locations on the property, preferably in other nearby planting islands on site. Lighting, no additional outdoor lighting appears to be proposed as part of this plan, with the exception of the digital display boards. If any new lighting is proposed related to the proposed site improvements, it should be added to the plans, and a photometric plan should be included to show compliance with the lighting regulations. All exterior lighting proposals shall be in accordance with requirements of section 5.17 of the zoning regulations. Signage, as stated in the zoning regulations, sections 5.1, 5.2, off-premises signs. An EV charging display kiosk does not constitute an off-premises sign and is therefore compliant with the regulations. It appears no other commercial signage is proposed as part of this application. All new signage shall be permitted in conformance with section 5.15 of the zoning regulations. Any new proposed signs of over 32 square feet will require site plan approval. Conservation Commission, this application was not referred to the Conservation Commission for review and comment. Architectural Review Committee, this application was not referred to ARC for review and comment. Engineering, City Engineer Paul Cousins has offered no comments on the plans. Police Traffic Sergeant Dustin Baldus, in an email dated 1/14/22, has offered the following comments on the plans. My only question in all paperwork, does it provide the EV charging area to have bollards to keep large capacity electrical outlets from being struck by unsuspecting motorists? This does not change any requirement from a traffic standpoint, but is a safety concern considering our motoring traffic is less than attentive in this current state. Thank you. Fire Marshal Ed Becerra has offered no comments on the plans. WPCA, Mary Parati, Administrative Assistant, City of Torrington, WPCA, has offered no comments on the plans. Billing Official Kevin Gillette, in a letter dated to me, dated 1/14/22, recommended: 1, please provide complete IBC section 107 required construction documents as applicable, prepared by a registered design professional for all proposed work being performed when applying for the required permits. 2, subject to review and on-site correction. 3, it shall be the duty of the permit holder or their agent to notify the building official that such work is ready for inspection. Conclusion, I recommend approval of the special exception and site plan applications for the proposed installation of 2 electric vehicle charging stations at 931 Torrington Street with the following conditions and recommendations. 1, the applicant shall plant additional shrubs in parking lot planting islands to offset any shrub removals during EV charging station installations. 2, it is recommended the applicant follow the advice of Police Traffic Sergeant Dustin Baldus in an email dated 1/14/22 with respect to installation of traffic bollards as necessary. 3, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of Building Official Kevin Gillette contained in his letter to the city planner dated 1/13/22. 4, a full-size stamp plan set of the approved plans shall be submitted for the record. And 5, in accordance with section 8.4.6 of the zoning regulations, the applicant shall provide a Mylar map for signature and filing on the city land records prior to issuance of a zoning permit.
Thank you, Jeremy. Do any commissioners have any comments at this point?
Just one question. The kiosks are single, so it's one kiosk will service one car. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. John, anything you want to add?
Just one question. On your overall site plan, obviously you're proposing these 2 charging stations on this site. Do you foresee adding any in the future? Because what I look at is you're trenching asphalt and so forth. You're only putting in the specific conduits for the 2 individual units. And to come back to this in the future and add 2, 3 more, you're disturbing all the infrastructure and so forth. I mean, is this a one-shot deal too and we're done here, or you're foreseeing something else in the future?
You want me to handle that question?
Yeah, I'll add some color after you're done, but go ahead.
Yep. So it is standard operating procedure for Volta when we form these partnerships with major entities like Stop and Shop to plan as much as possible for future proofing a site for future expansion. So some of the things that are standard operating procedure are oversizing the actual run so you can run thicker conduit to support more charging stations in the future. We don't know exactly how many more we would want to do in the future as of this date. That's really dependent on EV adoption, because our North Star when building this network is we want to build the most, well, and forgive the marketing, the most loved and the most utilized charging network. And we're not going to build infrastructure that's just going to sit there unused.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else to add?
Yeah, this is
no,
Diane Carroll. I do have a question. So was that what the sergeant put on his recommendation, or just a question about the barriers for these kiosks? Are there actual concrete pillars that will be, stopping snow plows that are plowing as well?
Kristen, did we already agree to that? Because if I have to make the decision, I'm perfectly fine to agree to it.
yeah, we've already agreed as a condition of approval that we'll install that to prevent any damage to the units.
Okay.
Absolutely.
This is Jim Babinski. I've just got one general comment. I don't have any plans in front of me. So are these charging stations, are they individually metered through Eversource, or are you tying into the building electric system at Stop and Shop?
Great question. These two particular stations will be tied directly into Stop and Shop's house power, so to speak. The broader discussion and the broader consideration, I think, for everyone on this call is how we start to think about installing fast charging infrastructure and more infrastructure, which hopefully we will be back in the near future to ask you for. And that we'd be sourcing power directly from Eversource and running our own meter and probably our own transformer.
A person that charges their car, let's say they're in the store for a half hour, how many miles are they normally going to get for that extra half hour?
Yeah, so these particular units, they're perpetually free and they're slower charging. So if you're in there for a half hour, you're going to get 15 miles of charge on a typical electric vehicle.
Gotcha.
The bigger picture long term, and I think it's worth noting here because is how we start to think about investing in fast charging infrastructure, which is we're very actively doing, and hopefully we'll be back in the future in front of you with that application. But that is, mission critical infrastructure, and that can charge a car up to a rate of about 450 miles per hour. It's a bit more nuanced, but basically, yes, you're in there for 20 minutes and you're back on the road for 2 hours.
Okay, the next question is, you're talking about slow charge versus a fast charge.
Yep.
How do you change the infrastructure that you have already installed in the ground? Is it just running the wires through the conduit, or?
Just based on the complexity of doing real estate site development, the realistic path forward for a fast charging installation is not hooking into available house power or even any available power that you might find that's feeding a building. You really need to go off of an existing pole or feed and put in your own transformer, because if you think about the amount of power that you need to power, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these fast chargers, that's the equivalent of an entire 500,000-600,000 square foot shopping center, all in one transformer. So there's really no way to fit the true fast charging infrastructure within the existing confines of a site. So when we go back to do phase 2, we're going to be speaking directly with Eversource, and we're going to be figuring out how to pull power in our own transformer.
Is there a certain number of charging stations that you would need, or the two that you're putting in?
Yep.
Consider how much electricity our people are using to determine whether you're going to go to the fast charge at a later date?
It's a really, really good sort of existential question. So as we think about building a charging network and think about enabling EV adoption, there's really 2 buckets of EV chargers out there. There's people that you can consider they're opportunistic chargers, and then there's essential chargers. So initially what we're doing at Stop and Shop is we're building out this program, and we're really focusing on opportunistic charging. This is a free amenity to serve the community. And we've been building this infrastructure for a long time and standing up this business model to get to this point in time where now there's about to be hopefully hundreds of thousands of vehicles on the road that aren't Teslas that need the fast charging. So that's what we're doing behind the scenes. We're negotiating and trying to build that network, and hopefully we'll be back in front of you. And those fast chargers, the way we're positioning them and the way you understand how to position them is you think of them as critical infrastructure, and the people who are using them are essential, as in they must stop within a certain mile radius to refuel their electric vehicle to continue their journey. And how you think about seeding that, and for instance, distance to major highways and along major travel arteries is a lot different than what we've done, or it's a different conversation than the initial program with Stop and Shop, but it's all evolving together, and it's something we think about deeply as a company. So I appreciate I appreciate the time to share.
One other last question. Do all electric cars, of course, I don't have one, so I don't know this answer. Does a Prius only use a slow charge and a Tesla uses a fast charge?
So great question. The charging stations that we are installing in front of Stop and Shop will service every single plug-in vehicle, whether it's a hybrid, whether it's a Tesla, whether it's a pure electric vehicle.
Okay.
And that's because every single Tesla delivered to date has been delivered with an adapter to use our stations. The trick is, if you think about the fast charging infrastructure in the world, Tesla is sort of Apple and the rest of the world is Android, at least in the US, but we're all kind of converging on that Android standard, and it's going to end up being universal, we think, and a number of other people think. So someday, very soon, it's going to be known as CCS, that is the standard, and every electric vehicle should have access to it, at least with an adapter.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is there any signage adjacent to this parking space / charging station that says, parking for charging only?
Kristen, it might be on the drawings, but I believe with Stop and Shop in the Northeast, we're saying EV charging is available because we're not policing the spots or trying to limit parking count.
So someone can theoretically park in that space with a gasoline powered vehicle and just take up the space and
Yep.
Yeah,
kind of
that's
eliminate
correct.
charging opportunity.
Yep. Surprisingly, people end up policing themselves more than you would believe. I was a skeptic as well.
I think I did notice in the drawings that the spaces, the surface of the spaces were actually painted, but I don't know if there was actually signage.
Any other commissioners have any questions or comments at this time?
One other question, Jeremy, are the spaces larger? Because you have when you put the adapter in, don't they come out farther on the side, or is it behind, or how's that work?
No, good thought, but
Instead of a 10-foot space, you have to go to an 11 or a 12, like a handicap? No?
no,
We're adjacent to an island, Jim.
yeah.
Oh,
So
okay,
charging
gotcha,
station's
okay,
in an island.
okay. Thank you, Greg.
Yep. Any other comments at this point? I'll go to the public. Would anyone like to speak in favor of this application? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Being none, would anyone like to speak in opposition of this application? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. You none, Jeremy, you have anything else to add?
Nope.
Does the applicant have any summation, or we're good?
Oh, I think that's all that we had to say. Just that this obviously is the first step in making sure that there's EV infrastructure for residents and visitors of Torrington. And as John mentioned, this soon will likely be something that's drawing people to the area. And I know Torrington's already a commercial retail hub for the surrounding area, but this, further reinforces that. So we believe, we're compliant with all the requirements. We're more than happy to accept the conditions of approval. And thank you for your time tonight and throughout this whole process, really.
Thank you. Time is 7:26. I declare this public hearing closed, and we will make a decision as soon as Commissioner Greco reads it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve special exception 22-01 in site plan 1399. Applicant Samuel Lee on behalf of Volta Charging LLC, location 931 Torrington Street. Proposal: install 2 EV charging display kiosks in the parking lot of Stop and Shop with the following conditions and recommendations. 1, the applicant shall plant additional shrubs in parking lot planting islands to offset any shrub removals during EV charging station installations. 2, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of Police Traffic Sergeant Dustin Baldus in an email dated 1/14/22 with respect to installation of traffic bollards as necessary. 3, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of Building Official Kevin Gillette contained in his letter to the city planner dated 1/13/22. 4, in accordance with section 8.4.6 of the zoning regulations, the applicant shall provide a Mylar map for signature and filing on the city land records prior to issuance of a zoning permit.
So moved.
Second, Diane Carroll.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Good luck.
Thank
Moving
you.
on
Have a
to-
nice evening.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Moving on to agenda item number 5, old business. A, site plan 1395, applicant is Joseph J. Lucia, location 92 Brightwood Avenue. Proposal is construct a 30 by 40 pole barn storage. Is the applicant in attendance, please? Please come forward. State your name and address for the record. We need a mic for him or
Oh, it's on the.
over there,
Yep.
Joey. Name and address for the record,
Joseph Lucia, 92 Brightwood Avenue, Torrington, Connecticut.
and just give us a brief overview of what you're looking to do, Joseph.
We want to put a storage pole barn up at the end of my parking lot. Strictly storage, nothing else, no work, nothing in there.
Jeremy, you have a memo?
I do. Date February 16th, 2022. Site plan number 1395, Joseph J. Lucia, DBA Torrington four-wheel and off-road 92 Brightwood Avenue. Construct 40 by 30 storage building. Joseph J. Lucia, DBA Torrington four-wheel and off-road has filed a site plan application to construct a 40-foot by 30-foot garage accessory building at 92 Brightwood Avenue. The property is owned by Joseph Lucia, is 21,780 square feet in size and is located in the LB local business zone. The proposed accessory building use is a permitted use in the LB zone per section 5.2.3 of the zoning regulations. Plans submitted are titled zoning location survey prepared for Joseph Lucia, DBA Torrington four-wheel and off-road, 92 Brightwood Avenue, Torrington, Connecticut by David J. Little, one sheet. The building as proposed meets the required zoning setbacks. The accessory building will be located in the southwest corner of the property near Brightwood Avenue. It will provide accessory storage for the automotive shop. In reviewing the application and plans and documents submitted, I have the following comments. The accessory building will be constructed in an already paved area of the parking lot. The property currently exceeds the maximum impervious surface ratio of 75%. No additional impervious surface will be created with the construction of this building. 2, no zoning chart or signature box has been included on the plans. Other staff comments, inland wetlands, landscaping, lighting, and signage. Wetlands, there are no regulated wetlands in the vicinity of the project that would require wetlands permits. Therefore, no wetlands permits are required. This constitutes a favorable report from the Torrington Inland Wetlands Commission. Landscaping, no additional landscaping is proposed or recommended as part of this application. Lighting, no added lighting appears to be proposed as part of this plan. Building mounted fixtures should be full cutoff lighting and directed to prevent any light trespass off the site. All other provisions of section 5.177 of the regulations shall be followed with respect to new lighting. Signage, no new commercial signage is proposed as part of this application. Any future signage proposals shall conform to section 5.15 of the zoning regulations. Any new signage proposed over 32 square feet will require site plan approval. City engineer Paul Cousins has offered no comments on the plans. Police traffic Sergeant Dustin Baldus has offered no comments on the plans. Fire Marshal Edward Becerra, in a letter dated to me dated 1/18/22, recommended 1, the building should be equipped with a complete and compliant fire protection and alarm system compatible with the occupancy. The fact it will be vacant during non-business hours makes it a prime candidate for the delayed discovery of a fire inside. 2, Torrington makes use of lock boxes to allow quick access by firefighters in time of an alarm without causing damage. A lockbox should be installed on the exterior of the building near the main door. The fire department will use its secure master key to open the box and allow the building owner to leave appropriate building access keys inside. This eliminates any delay in entering the building or waiting for a key holder to arrive in the middle of the night. 3, the building and area must comply with all required building and electrical codes and will be inspected by the fire marshal for compliance with life safety code prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy and annually thereafter. WPCA, Mary Parati, Administrative Assistant, City of Torrington, WPCA, has offered no comments on the plans. Building official Kevin Gillette, in a letter dated to me, 1/13/22, recommended: 1, please provide complete IBC section 107 required construction documents as applicable, prepared by a registered design professional for all proposed work being performed when applying for the required permits. 2, subject to review and on-site correction. 3, it shall be the duty of the permit holder or their agent to notify the building official that such work is ready for inspection. Conclusion, I recommend approval of the site plan application for the proposed 30 by 40 accessory building with the following conditions and recommendations. 1, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of Fire Marshal Edward Becerra, contained in his letter to the city planner dated 1/18/22. It is recommended that the applicant, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of building official Kevin Gillette, contained in his letter to the city planner dated 1/13/22. And 3, in accordance with section 8.4.2.b of the zoning regulations, the applicant shall provide a Mylar map for signature and filing on the city land records. Before filing a zoning chart, section 8.4.3.n, and a signature box, section 8.4.3.p, shall be added to the plans.
Thank you, Jeremy. Just a quick comment. The rear setback of that building is only 1 foot from the property line. Have you made arrangements with the adjacent neighbor for construction purposes to be on that side constructing the building?
It's kind of, I think it's a prefab thing anyway. It's just a wall. I mean, you're not.
They still put the sheeting on it. So somebody's standing in the neighbor's yard.
It's a group home, I think, or something, but I'll check with them.
Okay. Just for due diligence, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no adjacent building right behind this building. The other dwelling that's on there is set back from it.
There's a Connex box there, but I'm getting rid of that.
No, on the neighbor's side. Behind your building, your proposed building, there's no adjacent building right there.
Behind it,
Correct.
there's a house there.
How far away is that?
I have no idea.
Just an added bit of housekeeping, just verify your fire separation requirements in that zone with the building being that close to the line. Just so you don't get in a quandary.
I was under understanding that you could put it right on the line.
You can, but you got to be a certain clearance from an adjacent building for fire rating. Okay, so.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
The fire marshal didn't pick up,
Fire Marshal didn't mention that in his
That's
comments.
typically in the building code.
Yeah.
so that would be typical
Yeah.
building. Okay.
Yeah, so just so you're blindsided. All right, any
Yeah.
commissioners have any comments?
No.
No?
No.
No.
Joe, you have anything else to add? You're good?
No.
Okay, all right, Donna? Good.
I'd like to make a motion to approve site plan 1395, applicant Joseph J. Lucia, location 92 Brightwood Avenue, proposal construct 20 by 40 foot pole barn storage with the following conditions and recommendations. 1, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of Fire Marshal Edward Becerra, contained in his letter to the city planner dated 1/18/22. 2, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of building official Kevin Gillette, contained in his letter to the city planner dated 1/13/22. 3, in accordance with section 8.4.2.b of the zoning regulations, the applicant shall provide a Mylar map for signature and filing on the city land records. Before filing a zoning chart, section 8.4.3.n and signature box, section 8.4.3.p shall be added to the plans.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Good luck, Joe. All right, moving on to agenda item number 6, new business. A, proposed zone change, applicant Michael Leonard, location 2865 Winston Road, proposal change zone to local business LB, currently zoned R15S. We need to set a public hearing date. The suggested date is 3/23/22.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Diane Carroll.
Thank you, Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Moving on to agenda item number 6B, proposed zone change, applicant O&G Industries, Inc., location 37 Felicity Lane. Proposal change zone to R6, currently zoned R10. Set public hearing date. The suggested date is March 23rd, 2022.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second. Thank you, Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Moving on to agenda item number 5C, special exception 22-02, site plan 1402 and site plan 1403. Applicant Amy A. Samuelson, AIA, the Slam Collaborative, location 50 Major Bessie Drive and 277 Winthrop Street. Proposal, construct new Torrington High School, new middle school, and new central office administration. We need to set a public hearing date. The suggested date is March 23rd, 2022.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second. Thank you, Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Moving on to agenda item number 5D, site plan 1404, applicant Pereira Engineering LLC, location 1166 East Main Street. Proposal, construct new 2,084 square foot Starbucks restaurant. Is the applicant in attendance, please? Probably get to the microphone over there, sir. Thank you.
Chairman, Joe Pereira, sir, for the hearing.
Thank you. Give some minute to grab some plans here, sir.
Chairman,
Thank
I
you.
also have some updated plans for,
Okay.
This is,
I can share your plans up here. if you
would
want.
we rather use
these are for
those
the
then?
commissioner
Jeremy?
hard copy.
Use
Sure,
those plans,
yeah.
the ones he has?
Would you rather have the ones up on the screen?
Sure.
Doesn't matter
Yeah.
to me. I'll use the ones he brought.
Thank you.
I'd like to see him up on the screen. Thanks.
Yeah. Give me 1 sec. Let me just.
Okay.
You might want to just set the boards up for the people in the room, but I'll share it too.
Yeah.
Give me 1 sec to do the screen share. I just did that.
That's just the one.
Let's see what we got here. This is one side. Yep, just, there's two here. All right. Yeah, this one, and I'll share mine. So that's it. So it's the old company. I think. One of this thing. No? Maybe it's Corey Terrace. You're right. This is near the back. Yep. That's right. You know, I never really pay attention when I go by there. This is the bank. Here, this is the bank. So I don't know why. So
You're on the site plan.
let's see. Well, I'm gonna go to it.
Yeah.
Here we go. So this is gonna stay. And then this over here. So they're parceling out a piece of the parking lot. And right. Wow, it's a lot of stacking.
It's good.
Hmm.
16.
Now we're gonna put pressure on this light. It's actually quite quick. The light is quick. And, yeah, it's still the fastest way up on the east side. Try
Computer's
Charles
locked up.
Street. It's not as bad.
I think I got too many things.
Oh, yeah, the back way, yeah. Yeah, Kennedy. A lot of times when I come from the shop, I'll jump on the day, get off on Kennedy. Quite quick.
That's where I work, I get off every day.
Yeah, that's right, that's where you are. All right. was kind of wondering when this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Maybe you can hit the site plan, Jeremy.
Yeah, I tried that. It won't. I don't know
They,
what.
they weren't on the website, Jeremy?
Normally, we have an option to go full screen, and it's not showing it. I don't know why.
Hmm.
It
Usually says fit.
yeah,
Yeah.
fit width, but that doesn't do it. I
You
don't
want to
know
close
why.
that window to the side? Is that it, John?
Yeah, like,
Close, there you go. Close. Close. There you go. Make it a little bigger.
you know what? Maybe that'll let it.
Hit the zoom.
This worked earlier. Now it's not gonna.
I thought Lona loads them on the website. I've always from home.
Yeah,
I've
we could.
always-
I'll open it
Yeah.
up through the website.
Yeah, that's what I've always done, is just open them off the website.
It may open it in the same program though, but I'll try.
Well, whatever difference it is, can't be that big a deal.
Oh, that
There
one
you
right
go.
there. How about that?
Bang it.
That's the application.
Site plan.
Right there. Yeah.
A little better. All right, so we'll just do it like that.
Yeah, try to go to a
Well,
site plan. You got a
yeah.
site plan page? So you can see
Page
where-
two or three, maybe. Page 3.
It's 1 of 8.
You gotta let it load.
Gotta wait for them to render.
Yeah. you gotta let it load. There you go.
Right there.
That's the sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, please proceed.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Joe Pereira. I'm principal for Pereira Engineering with an office at 1 Enterprise Drive, Suite 312 in Shelton, Connecticut. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of Connecticut. Here before you tonight representing 116060 MS Torrington for a new Starbucks at 1166 East Main Street. The site itself came about by combining 2 existing parcels located adjacent to the existing Webster Bank. The 2 existing parcels are really Webster Bank's parking areas, if you will. The site itself is bound to the north by East Main Street, to the west by Buena Vista Avenue, and to the south by Albany Street. And altogether is about 0.52 acres. There are existing 2 curb cuts on East Main Street, and there's 2 curb cuts on Buena Vista, and then 1 more on Albany Street as well. Site has access to all public utilities, water, gas, electricity, obviously. The proposed development involves the construction of a 2,084 square foot plus or minus new Starbucks. It's their latest template. It's their new prototype. I'll show you some renderings in a few minutes, but we've gone through a lot of different iterations on the site. At the end, Starbucks corporate agreed that they wanted this building set back from the street. And in the end, this was probably the best layout that we came up with, only because it gave us the most parking and it gave us a lot of queuing for the drive-through lane. So at the end of the day, I'll just walk you through it. So we're going to cut off or eliminate one of the curb cuts on East Main Street, which is currently used by Webster as their exit lanes. We're going to eliminate that. We're going to make a wider existing driveway curb cut and make that full use in and out. That'll be shared. The curb cut along Albany, again, we're going to reconfigure that. Stays basically where it is, but we're going to clean it up. And so those two will remain. They work really well because you can come in and off both from the north and from the south. So it gives a lot of open traffic patterns. And then we are eliminating 2 curb cuts on Buena Vista, and we're providing 1. So let's say cars heading north or east on East Main Street will be able to turn at the light of Buena Vista and circle down to Albany and enter through Albany, or they can continue straight on East Main Street and turn into the right, into the site. Cars heading, say, west on East Main Street will be allowed to turn into the site as well. That's what we discussed and reviewed with the sergeant. What we are doing is, though, we're eliminating left turns from the site onto East Main Street. So that's why we're putting up a right turn only, and we're striping that such that cars will be forced or pushed over to the right only. But again, having the curb cut on Albany really opens things up because cars can head down Albany Street towards other routes. They can also head back to Buena Vista to a controlled light. So it really works out well. Once you're on the site, if you're a Starbucks customer, you can drive towards the north and get into the queuing lane. And then that's a separate lane all unto itself, not impacted by anything else going on the site. What we are providing in that queuing lane is an exit or a bailout only, a bailout lane, I should say, onto Buena Vista. So if you're in line, emergency comes up, or you no longer want to wait for your coffee or whatever the reason, you can bail out and get out of that drive lane. Typically not used, but it's more of a convenience. So other than that, you're going to continue through the menu board, wrap around, pick up your coffee. We also widen the exit lane from the drive-through so that you can fit 2 cars through there, just in case somebody wants to bail at the last minute as well. And then once you exit the drive-through, you can either turn right or left and head out of the site, or continue through and go to Webster Bank next if you chose. I'll also point out that there are 4 short-term parking. Webster, this is relatively new. There's a few things that Webster's introduced since these new COVID world. The short-term parking allows people to order on their app, pull in, park, get your coffee, and then leave relatively quickly. And then we've also got regular parking throughout the site. In general, the regs require 14 spaces. We're providing 25. So we obviously have quite an excess of parking compared to what's required from the regs. And that does not include the 16 or so parking spaces in the drive-through lane. The other thing that Starbucks has done is, everybody knows about the walk-in and about the drive-through lane, drive-through window. The other thing they've done now is they've introduced a walk-up window. So this is obviously something impacted from COVID. So if they ever get hit with anything else, they can still maintain operations for people that just want to walk up and grab a coffee, have a coffee outside, and then still drive through. So no need to shut down the Starbucks ever again. Let's see, we are proposing a new drainage system on the site. Stormwater will be treated locally with deep sumps and hooded outlets. All new system. Stormwater quality is improved. We're reducing the amount of impervious. I'll talk about the landscaping in a little bit. Let's see, in general, we are providing a new trash and recycling area. It will be fully screened and enclosed, and screened by not only a brick wall, but also by our landscaping. One thing I do want to clarify is we are showing an entry sign on East Main Street, but we're also showing an entry sign on Albany. Just want to clarify that only because in your memo, it mentions that we were only showing an entry sign on
Okay.
East Main. So if Starbucks chooses later on that they do want to do both, because right now they do show both, I just want to have that.
Yeah, well, so we have that for the record. Okay. Yep. Yeah, if it's showing on the plans, I might have just missed it when I was doing my
Yeah.
review.
Okay. So that sums up our site plan. Grading, again, it's a relatively flat site. basically grades from north to south. We're handling all the drainage and stormwater management. All the public utilities will be reused. Sheet C3 is our soil erosion and sediment control plan in compliance with the Connecticut state regs. Very straightforward. Rest of the civil site drawings really just show details for construction. And now if we go to the last sheet, that's our landscape plan.
Give this thing a chance to load. The very last sheet, right?
Yeah, last one. All right, our landscape plan. So we are required to have street trees. First off, let me start off by saying all the existing trees on the site, we're going to take down. Most of them are growing into the wires. We're going to clean them all up and clean them out and really replant new. So you're going to end up with a really clean, well landscaped, super appealing site when all is said and done. We're required to have street trees every 40 feet. So the front two trees that we're supposed to have right up along East Main Street, we're taking those out for a couple of reasons. We want to move those into the parking area to soften that whole look of the interior of the property. Cools off the pavement, a lot of different reasons there. The other thing too is we want to open up that view shed because the building is set far back from the road. So any patrons driving by have a clear shot of the building. Obviously, it's retail, we want to have that appeal and that view, pull people in. The rest of the trees are scattered around the perimeter. And then as far as the landscaping, along East Main, we're really adding, we're not gonna berm it up. What we are gonna do is use different types of plants and plant heights and really give you layering so that you'll have a mixture of perennials and shrubs and then some short trees behind it, but it really gives you a sort of a nice layered look along East Main, softens the look of the site. Screens really the view of the cars, but opens up the view of the building itself. So we've done that successfully on a number of projects. I think you all love the landscape plan once it's all done and installed. And then the rest of the site, we've got, again, perennials, grasses, shrubs scattered throughout. So anybody, want to have a cup of coffee out on the patio, really be buffered from the surrounding. We've got a nice evergreen and deciduous tree buffer along Albany, softens that whole look from the neighbors. We are proposing bike racks also along the patio, and that patio area will be enclosed with their typical wrought iron black fence. So that's the civil site and landscaping. Jeremy, if you could bring up the renderings.
I'll give it a shot.
I'll talk a little bit about that.
That's one separate drawing, right?
Architecturals, you can bring.
I don't know if I have I don't think I have the architecturals. They have the hard copies
Okay.
here.
So I'll talk about it then. So really the building itself, you're used to seeing the rectangular Starbucks. That's been their shape for a long time. This is a box, basically 47 by 47. It's sort of a new footprint for them. Their latest prototype now involves sprayed brick and stucco in combination with wood siding. And then a lot of glass. So it really feels like it's a call it a green building, if you will, with a lot of glass. Lets in a lot of light. And then it's complemented obviously by the patio outside. So the renderings you have in front of you, the ones that say new single tenant building, I'll just hold this up just so you know. So this really just, the only purpose of these drawings is to give you a feel for the look. This is not the building footprint that you're looking at. That just gives you the look. If you continue through the architectural set, you'll see the floor plan. So Starbucks provided this for convenience. This is their current floor plan that they're looking to build out. So you can see on the right side of the drawing, we've got double doors there. That's your main entrance. That'll be located near the 4 short-term parking spaces. So you walk in to your right and left. You've got to your right, really, you've got a number of seats and benches and tables. Continue through, you got some more tables. Bathrooms to the left, and then you've got back of house sort of in front of you and to the left. And immediately to your left, as you walk through the main doors, is the walk-up window behind the counter. So you can, even if Starbucks were to shut, are closed, you can still get your coffee through the walk-up window. And then if you continue on to the next couple of pages, it's the architectural drawings, floor plan, roof plan. But then you come to A201 and A202, those are your elevations. So your exterior elevations. So this is really the look of the proposed building. This is to scale. Again, for color, you have to go back to the renderings, but this gives you, the look and feel of the building, the outside.
What do you have for electric and phone entry to the building? What size electric?
Size electric, I want to say the panel is 600 amps. I think.
Because if it's 600, you should have a transformer somewhere. Do you have it on plan or no?
We don't, because we don't know where UI wants it, but we've got a space.
This is Eversource. Just,
Or Eversource,
yeah,
yeah, sorry.
no problem.
We can
Right.
squeeze it in on Albany Street where the landscaping is, so we need to move some landscaping around
Okay,
and we'll still soften that look.
okay.
So we've got room for it.
Yep.
We just don't want to, every utility is different, so
Right.
we'll have to work with their requirements. But all in all, that's the project. It's a simple project, but I think it'll be a great one for the town.
Well, kudos to the stacking area that you designed here with 16 cars. I think that's admirable.
Hopefully more than
You know,
enough.
yeah, let's hope so. So, any commissioners have any comments or questions at this point?
I have only one. that
Go ahead, Greg.
Deals with the entry and exit off Main Street, or East Main Street. So currently, there's a left and right hand option for the bank.
Right.
And now what you're suggesting, I think if I understood you right, is it's going to be exiting right turn only. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so for bank people, it's probably going to be a little confusing because it doesn't really force you to take a right. I mean, you haven't designed it,
Well, it
so,
is right here. See it?
no.
That
Oh,
little-
there's a little,
that
oh,
little-
okay, I
that's
didn't
curved,
see that.
correct?
Yeah,
Okay,
that island. or
There's a
that,
little island
That's
there.
forcing
Okay.
you, but then again,
Striped island, but right, that, we're gonna
Okay.
sign it and then we've got to stripe.
I
The
got you.
arrow you see on the drawing, actually, city engineer called it out. It shows straight. That's actually gonna be a right turn arrow.
Yeah, okay.
We're gonna clean
I
that.
think that's probably what confused me. I saw the arrow and I didn't see the
Yeah, yep, sorry about that.
island.
Yeah, I called that out in my memo too. So
That's fine.
when I do read it in.
Okay,
all right,
Right,
anyone
we
else
have
at
full
this point?
circulation around the site, which is nice too. So you could theoretically go on a loop.
well, there's a lot of ways off that whole block. I mean, there's many, many ways to get out.
Right.
What prohibits entry from Buena Vista into the queuing lane? Anything?
Do not enter signs, and we narrowed it's only a 12-foot driveway, so.
So
You
people
know.
see no line, is no car in place, they're gonna be jumping in there. probably.
Theoretically, yeah, they could, we can't police that, but it'll be, put it this way, somebody heading, say, north on Buena Vista to make that turn in won't happen. You
Right.
know, so at best, maybe somebody heading south on Buena Vista decides to sort of
Cut the line.
Sneak in.
maneuver
Yeah.
in, they can probably do that, but it won't be easy.
Similar situation to McDonald's. People, every once in a while, someone pops in that
Right.
or out that or in that entrance, whichever way is the wrong way.
Yeah.
In.
Well, we didn't want people going
Yeah.
in the service
Yeah,
at
which they do every day.
Cumberland, and they go in that way
Yeah.
every day.
No, it's nice seeing the flow of entry exit here.
Yeah.
Anyone else before we go to Jeremy's memo?
No.
Jeremy? Go ahead, please.
Date February 16th, 2022, site plan number 1404, Pereira Engineering LLC, new Starbucks coffee shop at 1166 East Main Street. Pereira Engineering LLC has filed a site plan application for site improvements, change of use, and construction of a new Starbucks coffee shop at 1166 East Main Street. The proposed coffee shop building is approximately 2,080 square feet, single story, and consisting of indoor seating, a walk-up window, a drive-through window that is designed to accommodate 16 stacking vehicles. The property has frontage on 3 streets, East Main Street, AKA State Route 202, and Buena Vista Drive and Albany Street, both city roads. The subject property was created by combining 2 separate parcels to form the resulting 0.52 acre parcel. The property is located in the LV zone, and the current property use is vacant / parking lot use. The proposed drive-in, carry-out, and dine-in restaurant use is allowed in LB zones by site plan approval under section 3.1, subsection 7.40 of the zoning regulations. Plans have been submitted with the application titled Proposed Site Development Plans for Property Located at 1166 East Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut, prepared for 1166 EMS Torrington LLC by Pereira Engineering LLC, Shelton, Connecticut, revised to 2/14/22, 11 sheets. Also included is a separate photometric plan dated 6/19/21, drainage calculation report dated 2/10/22, and a set of building architectural renderings and floor plans. Staff has met previously to discuss the project with the applicant prior to this meeting. In reviewing the application and plans and documents submitted, I have the following comments. One, the impervious surface ratio will decrease from 75% to 73% with added green space and an area of pervious pavers in the existing parking lot. Two, a signature box is required to be added to the overall site plan sheet C1 in accordance with section 8.4.3.p of the zoning regulations. Other staff comments. Wetlands, there are no nearby wetlands or watercourses in the vicinity of the subject property. Therefore, no wetlands permits are required for this application. This constitutes a favorable wetlands report for this application. Landscaping, the landscaping plan sheet L1 is acceptable as proposed. Care should be taken when removing existing trees and replanting along Buena Vista Drive to avoid conflicts with overhead power lines. Lighting, the lighting plan submitted by Holbrook Associated, Rockland, Mass, dated 6/29/21 are acceptable using fixtures as submitted with the photometric plan. All other exterior lighting proposals shall be in accordance with the requirements of section 5.17 of the zoning regulations. Signage, the submitted plans show only the locations of an entry sign near the proposed East Main Street entrance and a menu board and canopy in the drive and a menu board and canopy in the drive-through lane. We've got that correction. The applicant will be required to submit a sign permit application showing the size and design of all signage, including freestanding signage, directional signage, and drive-through signage. Information on the possible lighting of signs, internal, external, etc., shall also be provided. It is recommended that the property address numbering be added to the new freestanding sign along East Main Street in addition to the required building numbers. All new signage shall be permitted in conformance with section 5.15 of the zoning regulations. Any new proposed signs of over 32 square feet will require site plan approval. Conservation Commission, this application was not referred to the Conservation Commission for review and comment. Architectural Review Committee, the committee reviewed the project at their 1/20/22 meeting. The proposed building exterior is a combination of light gray brick and dark brown wood siding with the glass windowed storefront. There will be a small patio with tables on the exterior surrounded by a black wrought iron fence. The committee is in favor of the exterior building design. For landscaping design, 2 required trees along the East Main Street boundary line were relocated to the interior planting islands to both help with sight lines along East Main Street and to help green the interior of the parking lot. Possible signage installations were also discussed. With the building being set back to the rear of the property, a suggestion was made to include the property address number in both the building on both the building and the future freestanding sign along East Main Street to assist with visibility for public safety. The committee voted to make a positive recommendation on the submitted architectural drawings, landscaping, and signage plans with the street numbers to be located on both the building and future freestanding sign. Engineering, City Engineer Paul Kunzens submitted the following email comments on the proposed plans on 2/16/22. Joe has addressed all my engineering department concerns. My only comment is that the painted arrow for the right turn only onto East Main Street should be a right turn arrow and not a straight arrow. Police Traffic Sergeant Dustin Baldus, in an email dated 2/15/22, has offered the following comments on the plans. I have spoken with Joe and confirmed the emergency exit from the drive-through is not any type of delivery access or exiting point. I have also spoken with Joe and discussed signage and marking. The driveway leading out to 202 should be a right turn only, and we'll change the plans to update this request. At this time, I do not see any other obvious issues. I am awaiting the minor change to this regard, but I have no further comments at this time. Thank you. Fire Marshal Edward Becerra, in a letter to me dated 2/14/22, has offered the following comments on the plans. The building should be equipped with a complete and compliant fire protection system compatible with the change of use. The fact that it will be vacant during non-business hours makes it a prime candidate for the delayed discovery of a fire inside. Torrington makes use of lock boxes to allow quick access by firefighters in time of an alarm without causing damage. If not already in existence, a lockbox should be installed on the exterior of the building near the main door. The fire department will use this secure master key to open the box and allow the building owner to leave appropriate building access keys inside. This eliminates any delay in entering the building or waiting for a key holder to arrive in the middle of the night. The building and area must comply with all required building and electrical code and will be inspected by the fire marshal for compliance with life safety code prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy and annually thereafter. WPCA Ray Drew, Public Works Director, has offered the following comments. 1, applicant shall submit application for a sewer discharge permit. 2, applicant to provide additional information to include the following: A, days of week of operation; B, proposed water consumption; C, number of permanent and part-time employees; D, average number of meals served per day; E, number of seats inside and outside; F, type of restaurant, i.e. dine-in, carry-out, single use. 3, restaurants shall comply with the state of Connecticut general permit for the discharge of wastewater associated with food preparation establishments. A, operations shall use best management practices to minimize the amount of fats, oils, and greases that are discharged to the public sewer. B, shall have on file with the WPCA a completed fats, oil, and grease application and permit. 4, capacity reserve fee shall be paid prior to the commencement of discharge. Fee will be calculated upon receipt of all items in number 1 and number 2 above. 5, owner shall certify that there are no discharges of stormwater either directly or indirectly into the sanitary sewer system from the building. Stormwater discharges shall comply with the City of Torrington Department of Engineering standards. A, owner applicant shall contact WPCA to inspect building for compliance with Chapter 170-14 of Torrington Code. 6, operations shall use best management practices to minimize the amounts of fats, oils, and greases that are discharged to the public sewer. 7, operations shall use best management practices to minimize the use of phosphate-containing cleaners and detergents. For additional information or questions, contact WPCA 860-485-9166. Building official Kevin Gillette, in a letter to me dated 1/14/22, recommended: 1, please provide the following information as applicable when applying for the required permits. Complete full-size sets of IBC Section 107 required construction documents as applicable, prepared by a registered design professional for all work to be performed. Complete life safety plan with occupant load. Complete plan for accessibility, including parking and passenger loading facilities. Complete exhaust hood and fire suppression system plans. Complete mechanical, electrical, and plumbing plans. 2, subject to review and on-site correction. 3, it shall be the duty of the permit holder or their agent to notify the building official that such work is ready for inspection. Conclusion, I recommend approval of site plan application number 1404, application for site improvements, change of use, and construction of a new Starbucks coffee shop at 1166 East Main Street with the following conditions and recommendations. 1, the applicant shall follow the recommendations and requirements contained in this memo with respect to landscaping, lighting, and signage. 2, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of the Architectural Review Committee contained in this memo, specifically with regard to signage and address numbering. 3, the approval is conditioned on the marking of the exit lane onto East Main Street as a right turn only, per comments by Police Traffic Sergeant Dustin Baldus and City Engineer Paul Cousins in emails to me dated 2/15/22 and 2/16/22 respectively. The applicant shall follow the requirements of Fire Marshal Ed Becerra in a letter to me dated 2/14/22. 5, the applicant shall follow the requirements of the Public Works Director Ray Drew contained in a memo dated to me on 2/11/22 with respect to required sewer approvals. 6, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of building official Kevin Gillette contained in his letter to me dated 2/10/22. And 7, in accordance with section 8.4.6 of the zoning regulations, a signature box shall be added to the overall site plan, sheet C1, on both Mylar and paper copies of the sheet for signature of the PZC chairman, and maps shall be filed in the city land records by the applicant.
Thank you, Jeremy. Do any commissioners have any comments or questions?
No.
No. Does the applicant have anything to summarize?
I do not.
We're good. All right, Donna?
Like to make a motion to approve site plan 1404, applicant Piera Engineering LLC, location 1166 East Main Street, proposal construct new 2,084 square foot Starbucks restaurant with the following recommendations and conditions. The applicant shall follow the recommendations and requirements contained in this memo with respect to landscaping, lighting, and signage. 2, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of the Architectural Review Committee contained in this memo, specifically with regard to signage and address numbering. 3, the approval is conditioned on marking of the exit lane onto East Main Street as a right turn only lane per comments by Police Traffic Sergeant Dustin Valdis and City Engineer Paul Cousins in emails to me dated 2/15/22 and 2/16/22 respectively. 4, the applicant shall follow the requirements of Fire Marshal Ed Becerra in a letter to me dated 2/14/22. 5, the applicant shall follow the requirements of Public Works Director Ray Drew contained in a memo dated to me on 2/11/22 with respect to required sewer approvals. 6, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of Building Official Kevin Gillette contained in his letter to me dated 2/10/22. 7, in accordance with section 8.4.6 of the zoning regulations, a signature box shall be added to the overall site plan sheet C-1 on both Mylar and paper copies of this sheet for signature of the PZC chairman, and map shall be filed on the city land records by the applicant.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Good luck, sir.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And just for the record, that was agenda item number 6D. Moving on to agenda item number 6E, proposed zoning regulation change, applicant Leila Campo and Daniel Mayhew. Proposal amend section 6.7 mobile homes and recreational vehicles. We need to set a public hearing date. The suggested date is March 23rd, 2022.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second.
Diane Carroll, second.
Thank you, Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Moving on to agenda item number 6F, appointment of architectural review committee members. We're looking at Paul Cousins and Jeremy Lightford to be appointed.
Yeah, so we just have to make a motion for reappointment.
Okay, I'll move that we reappoint.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. So Paul Cousins and Jeremy Lightford are reappointed. Moving on to agenda item number 6G, zoning and blight violation update. We have none at this point. Moving on to agenda item number 7, correspondence A, discussion about new cannabis establishments regulations. Obviously, we just had a preliminary meeting prior to this zoning meeting at 7 p.m. Jeremy, any other comments at this point?
And unless we want to pick up any conversations, but we had an hour long, unless there's something else to add. I don't have anything to add right
What I'll
now.
try to do for you is help, I'm gonna reach out to some of the Massachusetts locations. They've been in it now for well over a year.
So they have at least 3 that I counted in one stretch in
Great Barrington.
okay, not Great Bear, the one right over the line.
Right.
Yeah.
Not
They have
Sandusville.
a couple on the Cape. Wellfleet has one.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, more information would be great, just so
I
we
think
can make
having-
a real
yeah.
sound decision.
I have a couple notes out of that meeting we had of some information to gather for our follow-up.
yeah. I
Right.
mean, I think it's critical to hear from people like Mary because,
Right.
I mean, she's a person who lives in the environment. She
Right.
can speak.
Right.
And,
Right.
we're getting a lot of, dependency this, dependency that, there's been, I read a lot today.
Yeah.
And there's no consensus that happens. But that doesn't mean that we're going for it. The question is, what's the best approach
Right.
in
And the-
terms of, do we do a planning and zoning? Do we do a referendum?
I guess the one thing we didn't really, if I had to add something, the one thing we really didn't discuss was that the city council can take it over and under an ordinance.
Yeah.
But then you have to figure out who's going to enforce it. If it's within zoning regulations, we know who's going to enforce it.
Yeah.
So
So you wanted to go ahead.
I really don't think we have to spend a whole lot more time on it, to be honest with you. I think gathering this bit of information that we said we want to go get. We get that, we have another meeting, and I think at that meeting, we can decide
Which direction?
what do we want to do? Which direction do we want to go? I think the fellow over here, I don't know who that was.
That's Glenn
Glenn
McLeod.
Glenn
McLeod.
McLeod, yeah. His comment about Winston plopping it
Right.
on our line is like, that's what's gonna happen,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, and by no means there's, anywhere you go, this is not a consensus issue.
No,
It's,
Right,
it's a down the line split. You're gonna always find, a pretty level break for
what I
and
wanted
against.
to try and understand more was the referendum, the 10%. I didn't quite understand what that meant.
So the city council has the ability to call a referendum on anything they want.
Yeah.
But the statute provides for 10% of the voters of Torrington can put in a petition. And if they're all verified, all the names are verified, then it has to go to referendum.
Oh, okay, so they can force it.
Yeah, they can force a referendum.
Okay.
The one thing, I don't remember if I even mentioned this during our meeting, but I think I did. It has to be at it has to be at a regular election. So it
Yes.
has to be,
Right.
we can't just call a referendum at any date.
Tomorrow.
Or even in August. It has to be
When's
during
our next one?
November 8th. It has to be on a regular election
Oh,
ballot,
November
not a
8th.
primary election, it has to be on a, so I think that was the legislature's way of saying we want turnout if we're going to have this question in cities. So,
Do we have any ideas as to locations for these that we're thinking of?
well, I mean, we can look at it
What are you
anyway.
thinking of, or what some of the existing people are thinking of?
Well, have you, there's been people that have
Well,
come
the
forth,
existing dispensary
right? That's one.
is chomping at the bit, if I may,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
To get in.
I
I didn't
know.
want to get ahead of myself, but what I really want to do is assume that we'd allow it in any local business zone, then have our GIS, our engineering department generate a map with
The restrictions.
a setback
The
line,
overlay.
from churches, schools, and see how many parcels that leaves us.
Right.
Same thing for industrial. I mean, if we put a 500-foot setback in from schools,
Does anyone know what Waterbury's resistance is?
'Cause
I-
they're in bad shape.
yeah,
right
I think
now.
it's,
They can't be in any.
I think it's a
worse shape.
perception thing for Waterbury. I mean, from what I understand, I could be wrong, but that's the way I understand it, is they've
Jeremy?
got, yeah. Yep, sorry.
Jeremy, I have a question. So the two, between the two retail and the two cultivating businesses that could possibly come in, is there anything that the state's dictating if they have to be so many, what their locations are adjacent to each other, or do they have to be
No,
separate,
no. There's nothing in the statute on that. And it only allows us to adopt, we don't have to adopt separations from anything. It just
Okay.
allows for the municipalities to do it.
Okay,
But Diane, I think in conjunction with this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy, I believe the cultivation has minimum square foot requirements, I believe, coming out of the gate.
Yeah, they want them to be micro cultivators,
Right.
not huge
Right.
operations.
Right.
And they don't want them to be outdoors.
Right. And the important part, the really important thing is they've had this question of people looking for agricultural exemptions for it.
Right.
And they've said flat out, this is not agriculture under the definition in state
It's
statute.
considered manufacturing.
See, one of the components that I was listening to this evening from the mayor with the taxation, so to speak, that didn't leave me warm and fuzzy that it's like a direct deposit. Here you go into the city of
Right.
Torrington. It sounds like you're gonna be like
It launders a little.
policing this thing, trying to get your dollars back.
Yeah, and the state basically has to send you a report and then you have to figure out how to collect it.
Yeah, you have to.
You basically
collect it
just bill
from-
'em.
Right.
Yeah,
So it's almost like a property tax scenario
Yeah.
where you're knocking on their door saying, please pay me.
but you don't even know what that is until you get a report from the state.
Right, but that leaves if it's your job as the city to collect the money, then you also can create the regulations around what the penalties are for not payment. So there's a lot of, I don't consider that unmanageable. I really don't think.
Well, it's just
but I
another
think that-
layer.
They've offered
I
no
think
guidance on that.
Right.
What I'm hearing, mostly what I heard tonight is the camp that wants to make a social statement saying, no,
Mhm.
because socially, we don't think it's right. And then there's the camp that says, reality is, it is what it is.
The point I make in some of the stuff some of the things I put together previous to the meeting is it's a perception that
Yes.
goes way back.
Yes,
And
I read that.
You know,
and I was surprised. I mean,
we had prohibition in the 30s and I mean,
well, we're proliferating the breweries.
Yeah.
You know, we're allowing distilling companies to distill, where, I mean, if, you know, you want to make a social statement, why aren't we doing it there?
Yeah.
You know, so-
Yeah, and
Right.
that's, you know, that's not me weighing in one side or the other. I'm just saying it's a perception. It's not, some of it's not realistic. It's just our perception dating back,
Yeah.
80
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I read the chronological event, I was surprised how far back,
Mhm.
but.
1937, I
was,
think I read.
Yep.
way before that, 1890. maybe
Yeah.
It was.
Well, you know, I mean, even going back to the meth clinic, I mean, it kind of like really, why do we want it here? It's that perception, what, but Maria was involved with that too, though. Maria Coutant,
Mhm.
and she was very receptive to that, but people saw that facility as a congregate for,
Again, it was
Bad.
unfounded. There were no facts that proved that it
Mhm.
was,
right,
that it would be, you know, detrimental. There was no, you know, there was no data out there that says, oh my God, crime went up, this went up, that went up.
right.
That's none of that stuff. So it was highly perceptive.
Right.
And,
That was one of the reasons why I wanted to send that planning article out, because
Yes.
it was from communities that have had this for a while.
Yes.
And how are they being built? What neighborhoods they're going in? How are they doing
Right.
in their,
Have to.
you know?
Back to the meth clinic, one, you know, I can still recall the conversation in the meeting. That it was just, you're substituting drugs, so to speak, or treatments, if you
Right.
will.
right, it's a treatment.
I can still recall a gentleman saying, hey, I've been on meth since 1993 and it's
Right.
working great for me.
Right.
But you know what? Not for nothing, and it's just my opinion. Get off of everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well-
You're just replacing this with this.
Right, but
You know
from
what?
what,
It's
from
supposed
what
to
I
be a
understand.
treatment plan,
Right.
and then they too extenuated that with therapy, with more treatment. It wasn't
But-
like a be all to end all.
but that-
Maybe he is.
That's an opium addiction, right? Methadone, in other words.
No, that's.
But what I understood,
speed.
I mean, I'm not smart enough or been learned enough. I'm sorry if I could read enough about it. But my point was, I don't know enough about that dependency issue, but from what I understand, a little bit I've read about it, it's difficult to kick it. I mean, you can go through these programs many times and never be able to
Right.
kick it.
Well, what caught
So-
me with that meeting, just I don't want to continue this too long, was they were talking about recovery during that methadone public hearing. And most of these programs are 30 days. It takes your brain 90 days to
Right.
kind of reprogram itself. So why the hell are they 30 days?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
and in
with that
30
kind of
days-
behooved me a
Yeah,
bit.
in 30 days, you're not even like scratching the surface.
Not really.
you know?
Right, I know. Jeremy, I have a question, not to change the subject, but where is this medical office going into East Main Street, Kawood?
Oh, is that,
That's where the Bed Bath and Beyond.
yeah, it's where Bed Bath and Beyond was. What
What
was that?
medical office is going in
Where's
there?
that?
Hartford Healthcare.
Hartford
Of
Health
course
Care?
they
Yeah.
are.
Of course they are.
Who's going in there?
I don't know who.
Maybe I'm.
I don't know who, but it's Hartford Healthcare. Yeah,
Whoa,
yeah, in the old Bed Bath and Beyond.
I was wondering.
they're everywhere.
Yeah, oh my
We're
God.
working hard on that interconnect. That's Marty's baby. I got to make sure to get that done.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, yeah.
The
okay.
intercon- the
believe me, there's been a
Agreed.
few times I've been looking for it.
Yeah.
and I got, damn, it's not there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, we're Ken Ricka is working through those
When you pull out a
plans.
Starbucks, if you want to turn left, just hook around that island.
Yeah.
So are
Yeah.
they moving
known to
like
do it.
their Go Health there?
I think
or-
it's just an additional one. It's another new one.
Holy mackerel.
far as I know.
Batman.
Yeah, yeah, I haven't heard of any others closing down and moving over there. So
No.
They're popping up.
Well, we're kind of affiliated with them where I work, and I'm just always curious as to what they're gonna scoop up.
yeah, what did you?
next.
Where was that written? Was it written? I don't.
It was the change of use.
Oh,
That you
oh,
just
oh,
signed off on.
oh, okay.
I'm
I
like,
got it. I got
Who
it.
is that?
I didn't know that made it into the packet. Won't have snuck that one in there.
Oops. Who
And
is
then
that?
the old Crowley's is gonna be a restaurant, fishbowl?
Yeah, so for now, they're gonna have while they're building, doing whatever they need to do, they're gonna have a food truck there.
Huh?
So,
Where's that gonna be?
right on
The
the
old
corner of
Crowley's appliance.
Church and Midgeon.
Across from old Hotchkiss
Former
Brothers,
Gioni's.
Oh, yeah.
right there at Cones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be more of a deli style with a sit down, but I'm not completely positive. I think that's kind of what I
Yeah, because
gathered.
there's not a ton of parking.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's still, that's still in the downtown district, so it technically doesn't need any, but
Right,
yeah,
right,
that's
right. Oh,
not,
okay.
there's not really off-street
Yeah.
spots to park there either.
How much coffee do you want to sell?
Yeah, I know.
You're like, holy moly.
Is the other Starbucks and Target going to stay?
I haven't heard anything different.
Probably,
So,
I would
yeah.
imagine.
I'm sure they are.
That's
because Those are
Because,
convenient.
And the one in
Price-
Market 30,
Yeah.
Market 32.
Yeah,
that was the-
Yeah.
Oh, I
right.
don't go there. so I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's just people drinking coffee and shopping.
Yep.
Save
All right.
money to buy
All right.
it.
All right, so moving, we're good. Moving on to agenda item number 8, adjournment. The
I
time
move-
is 8:28.
I move we adjourn.
I have a motion, second from Commissioner Greco. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
So moved. Good night, everyone. Thank you for all your.
Night. Night.
Good night.